Invoker in his pubs, but I thought maybe it could be just for fun, but it looks like they want to bust it out here. There is merit to like Wex Invoker versus Morphling.
Yeah, the mana burn. I mentioned illusion mana burn heroes, and I guess they take it from the mid lane.
He does that job well, but didn't Invoker get nerfed recently?
Yeah, they nerfed his cold snap, like how the intervals in which you get stunned, and then they also nerfed his alacrity buff. So like the alacrity plus empower, these like buff heavy on all in on one guy isn't nearly as good as it used to be. They banned Jug. I would be shocked if they hadn't done that. They probably are going to ban Faceless Void too, since we already mentioned the hero and you also have Invoker in the equation.
This has to be a Wex Invoker, right?
Yeah, almost certainly, because you need somebody to make that space because you got a lot of people to take it.
10 seconds remaining.
You more so need a guy that rotates.
Potential with Magnus too. Like maybe we can see some really cool combos coming out. That would be fun.
Yeah, you can start Wex and then inevitably line up your maxed Exort when you get the Ags, like second, third items. So you don't have to like all in Quas Wex in terms of your build. You can just use it for the first 15 minutes of the game.
I like this TA ban because it is a very good TA game.
It is an incredibly good TA game. They have all stuns that you can react to, and that's when I think TA really shines. Is just you have refraction. They pop cold snap on you. You see the mag shockwaving to set you up to get RP'd. You just blink away.
They do have living armor, but whatever. You don't care.
They're actually just giving them Faceless Void.
Why not?
Disruptor's like on paper pretty good against it, but that's still surprising to me.
Remaining.
There's an anti-mage ban coming out too.
5 seconds remaining.
I would have thought that anti-mage was like personally way too greedy and like not the hero they were looking to ban. But I can definitely see its merits like inherently versus
Faceless Void.
And they go for the Void.
I think you have to. I think it was kind of just given to them.
Right.
Yeah,
IG knew this. They had to know this was coming, right?
This one is obvious.
I mean, no offense, but if we see it coming, they're gonna see it coming too.
But they probably like wanted them to pick it. Maybe they just are confident playing against it.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's see one then. Last hero coming out. Is this gonna be an emo morph or fly morph?
I would much rather it be a Nemo morph.
I want the fly.
Oh.
You got it against Invoker. That's a good lane matchup. Lena Mag, please do not put me on morph against that. That's all I'm thinking. In terms of like whatever their perfect 10th pick is, that's where they'll put it. But
okay, we got the Void Spirit, so it looks like fly morph to me.
Once again, I'm wrong. What can you do?
Well, the fly morph is so good. It's like legendary, dude. It's like he's like the morph player.
I'm not even gonna defend myself here. Not even worth it because
you don't need to.
Right, I'm wrong. That's how it is.
You're right all the time, bro. All the time.
I'm not used to my panelists trying to make me feel better. This is
you're great. You're like right a lot.
No, the thing about the Morphling pick being third, that they had the bans to protect it, and they are confident on both of their cores. Like they're super strong on Morphling, on Fly as well as Emo. So they clearly wanted this like early jump. They wanted low cooldown jump.
Yeah.
Because they had this wombo combo team fight from the Mars Phoenix, but other than the arena itself, they didn't really have early playmaking potential. That's what I see coming out. And you have to have that quick pace of the game against this Invoker Void combo. You can't let them stall out the game just waiting to ult you and Cataclysm you off cooldowns.
I would have loved IG's draft if instead of Disruptor, they had maybe like an Abaddon or an Oracle, just like that extra layer of security for the Morphling in case he gets RP'd. But I mean, maybe they know something that I don't, you know? This is what works for them.
So, you're going for?
I'll do IG.
IG, yeah? How about you, Brian?
Yeah, I tentatively went for Execration last game. I'm going for Execration like hard this game.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I would be very happy if they won.
I think that it would be hype if they win first off, so I'll like emotionally bias against this one.
Yeah.
But also, like, I think that based on the lack of cleanliness we saw in the first game, if one team were to mess up once or twice, it'd be the most costly, it'd be IG.
And you feel like maybe Nico's been set up a little bit more for success on his mag this time around compared to his Axe previous game? We were maybe a little overly harsh, but again, there was a lot of pressure. How's he going to do this time?
I think
his job will be easier.
He's much more of a buffer. I think he can afford to actually just go like Greaves pipe kind of items rather than actually building the blink. Like eventually you buy it, but it's not really his job to initiate with vision from the tree and the chrono from the Faceless Void.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's find out what's going to happen in this game, too. If we're going to have another draw, or if IG will take this first series for them 2-0. We're heading over to our commentary duo of Synerin and Sunsfan.
Thank you, Shiver. I am now talking instantly because you got very, very angry with me when I did not talk. My name is Sunsfan. Joining me is Synerin. Synerin, are you doing okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
You sure you're okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Everything seems perfectly normal to me.
I'm ready.
This is IG versus Execration game number 2. Of course, IG took game 1 in pretty convincing fashion. We're going to see Super, I believe, on Disruptor again.
Yep.
Might have, I mean, I'm not sure how big his hero pool is, but
so far it's 1.
Yeah, so far 1. So,
and that's enough.
Start somewhere.
If your hero doesn't get banned, 1 is enough. If anyone has ever watched Admiral Bulldog stream, that is the proof right there. Yeah, and then when your hero starts getting banned, you just start playing 4K unranked. Okay, let us have a look at the draft.
Man, you like to just rip apart other streamers. Is this in order to try to incite people or entice people to come to your stream?
It's called clout chasing. You'll get it.
Oh,
all right.
That seems like an NA thing.
Let's have a look. So, I will respectfully very much disagree with BSJ in this game because whenever I see lineups like...
Could you... sorry, I hate to interrupt. Could you disrespectfully disagree?
It's not because he's a streamer, okay? That has nothing to do with it. So basically, when I see lineups like Execrations where you have like 4 major AoE ultis, but no natural way of setting it up, I find that a lot of the times you find yourselves in these awkward spots where everyone is waiting for each other and nobody can really go first. You know what I mean? Like you have Overgrowth, RP, Tornado EMP, and Chrono that all kind of want to follow up.
Right.
Who is starting the fight here? Like we're assuming it's a Quaswex Invoker, right? He went Quas level 1, so I'm guessing that's where we're going with this. But if like let's imagine the mid hero was a Dragon Knight, just to give you an example, right? Simple targeted stun starts the fight. The enemy team needs to respond, and that's when your big cavalry can come in with their huge ultis. But right now, the Magnus, that could almost even be a kill. So the Magnus and the Trant and the Void will be looking for the same kind of opportunities, and they'll kind of be falling over each other. That doesn't mean that has to happen. Like, these strategies win. Of course they do. But just in my own experience of watching and playing with these strategies, they miss more often than they hit. So I'm a little bit hesitant to... whereas you look the other way, you have a very simple setup. You have Void Spirit that starts the fight. You have Glimpse to bring people back, and then you have your follow-up with Mars Phoenix. That's a great AoE combo. It's a little bit more straightforward.
So easier to execute.
I think so.
Maybe not reliant on the ults as much.
Right, and that's the other thing. Even if you do pull off the Fight Execration, right? When your spells are on cooldown, your lineup's pretty weak.
Yeah.
Like you don't bring much to the table except an Invoker. Mag without RP is not that strong. Void without Chrono is not that strong. Trend without Overgrowth is not that strong.
Yep.
So...
Fair enough. We'll see, though. Like you said, any lineup can definitely win.
Absolutely. Like, I'm not saying Execration are just, like, screwed, right? It's not like that at all. I'm just personally biased against these kind of lineups because I feel like their track record just isn't very good.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
We'll see if they can make it work. Yoe is at least off to a pretty good start here in mid. They're going to trade waters, it looks like, and Yoe will have a slight CS advantage. I do believe this is an Invoker-favored matchup. When an Invoker goes Quaswex, you can purge off the Resonant Pulse and trade effectively. And you obviously have the advantage of being a ranged hero against melee. That will always be an advantage. So
I'm just happy that Void is back into meta to a degree, at least, because it feels like once they got rid of his original Aghanim Scepter that just reduced the cooldown of his ult, he's had a real hard time coming back into the scene because so much reliance on that ult. But his new Ags, well, it's not that new, but pretty freaking good. The Shard we see it picked up in NA and pretty much nowhere else. Not sure how good it is, but it's very interesting to say the least. And ever since they added damage to time dilation, it feels like it's just made him at least a better laner, which was kind of his big issue for a long period of time. But I'm really interested to see what kind of itemization they go for Void. Because we've seen, like, Maelstrom, we've seen Battle Fury, we've seen Mask of Man. It's like there's so many different things you can do on the hero.
I think when you're playing with Magnus, you obviously don't go Battle Fury, right? I think Tread's Maelstrom...
You don't like extra cleave, Syndra?
I think Tread's Mom Maelstrom is really good here. You want to compensate for the fact that your Invoker's playing Quaswex, so his damage in Chrono is not going to be the best. So you kind of need to... You need to create your own destiny.
Uh-oh, Super. In a lot of trouble here. LSA did connect, and yeah, he's resigned to his own death here. And they'll give it to Nico for first blood.
All right. Disruptor Morph, definitely one of the weaker lanes that we've seen today. So can't be too surprised that they are losing to an absolutely bullying support in the position for Lina. This is one of the matches.
Ooh,
The great
LSA
stun.
connects. No, they have no follow-up though.
Oh, that was very nicely placed. Bottle refill mid for Emo coming out of Super. And he will also get the top water or bottom water, whichever one he wants, since the 2v1 enables him to.
Yeah, but very even in CS for sure. As Super's just going to deny the water in bottom.
Nicely done.
So, yeah, Yoe, a little bit annoyed by that. Of course, not going to really be a bottle carrier, but obviously those water runes are always helpful for regen and whatnot. Although they have been nerfed a couple times now, so maybe not as good as they used to be. But
damn, both safe laners are just actually getting crushed this game. Void has 9 CS minute, 420.
that's pretty bad. Pretty bad.
I had a pub game 2 days ago, I think. I played Void and I had 9 CS minute, 420, and I felt like I missed like almost everything. So if he did that this game, that's got to feel really bad, because I felt really bad, and therefore it was really bad.
Great analysis.
Morph is on 14, which is also not great, but it's more than 9.
Thank you, Syndra.
You're welcome.
That's what they pay you the big bucks for.
Oh, nice Fire Spirit. That slows attack speed. That's why he didn't break the core.
Are we just going to explain everything in very basic detail? As Disruptor dies, he'll be back in 14 seconds, as you can see on the top of your
correct.
screen.
The enemy team got 171 gold on their Magnus.
And that exclamation point is a deny, by the way, in case you're wondering. So how long? I feel like we're playing a game of chicken here, and I will win.
Is this what it was like doing the Nubis stream?
Yeah, so many years ago. Palace is in quite a bit of trouble. Pops that wand. Has the living armor, so shall survive. Of course, even if he's off to a bad start, you will have the Empower at some point to be able to kind of catch up into the jungle, I would assume. But
he's got 9 CS minute, 5.
Yeah.
Oh. He is just not getting creeps. Like, we were looking at this Morph getting bullied. I haven't seen as much of top lane, but man, they must have been absolutely destroyed for that to be the outcome. That is not good. Despite that, Execration still in a decent position gold-wise. Obviously, they have the 2 kills. One of them being the first blood bottom that went, I believe.
Oh, fly.
Close call.
Yeah,
raindrop.
Attribute shift is a lifesaver.
100% dead without the raindrop as well. He's playing on the edge. Yoe.
Yeah, Thunderstrike onto Yoe. One more right click will suffice, but Emo does not have vision right now. There's the tornado into the TP from BDZ, but back Emo goes with that Astral Step. Had another charge, and that is a solo kill for him.
Salt in the wound. He even gets a DD rune top afterwards. So now Invoker is susceptible to get killed once again.
Oh my, what is that spear? How is he so far away from the tower? All right, Palos. A little time walk to safety. I'm gonna try to turn this around to JT.
I believe that's what happens when you spear someone and you rebuke them mid-air. That they can kind of like, their motion stops, but the spear still tracks.
Okay.
It makes a lot of sense when you think about it.
Yes, that's physics. I mean, physics in Dota are obviously quite different than the real life.
Yeah, the trees are infinitely high and Arena has no height.
Yoe comes in to the top lane now, rotation, so they're going to get a kill on Kakako.
Oh, that's a kill if that hits.
Yep.
Spicy.
But I don't know if you noticed, it did not hit, in fact, Syndra.
That's correct.
Just keeping up with the newbie stream here is Fly. Getting pressured again, but the adaptive strike now that he's in full strength mode. Let's get that extra stun.
Is under attack.
I mean, like in terms of both carries, let's just say they're basically even right now. Both have had a pretty rough time. I know that Palace is having a little bit more, but let's say they're even. Who does that favor? Like, who is it worse on? I feel like Void at least has some fallback with the Empower at some point.
I think it's hard to say just like linearly between the two heroes, because like for Execration, they have multiple ways of having these big teamfight ults, but I think Void is such a crucial part of their damage that they need him to have a better game. You look at the other side and it's easier to imagine the way kills happen, right? With a Morph that's farming in the jungle, you have Mars, Phoenix, Disruptor, Void Spirit, all 4 great skirmishers. They do well in 2v2s, 3v3s, even big scale team fights.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
And Void's damage is also more item based, right? Like Morph can actually do decent damage with just a waveform and an adaptive strike. Even if you only have like treads and a wraith band or whatever, you contribute something. Void with no items is just like, you're just there. So I do like it. Slightly
JT uses the first Mars Arena of the game. We'll find the tree. And the Rebuke is more than enough to take him out. But Palace trying to get some retribution as Yoe is teeping in to help get this trade. And with the Tornado, they should be able to ensure this kill, I would assume. But there's the glimpse. EMP, not even needed. So they do find the kill. And there's the first chrono of the game. Do they have enough damage to follow this up, though? Yoe is in range to right click. And yeah, with a couple bashes, Super not able to deny himself.
Bash is really good when it works every hit.
That's right.
Then you kill heroes.
I mean,
really.
the percentage isn't really that low, right?
No, that was not absurdly lucky, but a little bit. Didn't matter, though. I think it would have died regardless. I've noticed something across these games of Execration we've seen now. I think Yoe is very, very good at TPing. A lot of mid players are... it depends on your perspective, right? Some mid heroes obviously don't want to TP, so they don't.
Yeah.
But Yoe is playing these heroes that rotate, and he's very, very quick to do it. Last game we saw it on the Puck. He got 2 or 3 counter kills on the Juggernaut. In this game, he's coming top on Invoker to get both a Mars and a Disruptor kill for his team. There's very quick reactions with these.
So tell me this then,
heroes.
if he's going to do that anyway, what's the reason for not going Exort? Because you just get these Sunstrike kills. Because you have a lot of setup for it this game, like a lot.
Yeah, but you don't have any tempo then, right? Like, Exort Invoker relies on his team to set him up, like you said, and the setup is reliant on items and levels. Whereas with Quaswex, he can kind of make the moves himself for the team. If you try to imagine that TP top, like let's say he was in Exort there, I don't think those kills happen. Right? He needed to come in with a Tornado EMP for that team.
The smoke has broken. Oh, LSA is going to connect after the skewer comes through. We'll be able to find the Lina pretty easily. The Fly is pretty low HP, but there's the RP onto 2. Palos, of course, does not have Chronosphere. I don't know if they can take Fly out. In fact, they're just going to have to run. But Emo, I believe he was, he's building a Midas. So what do you think of this?
Interesting.
I don't know if I've ever seen a Midas on Void Spear before.
No, me neither. This, I know I'm really biased toward the Axe on this hero. I just think it's that good, but...
I mean, he'll still get it, probably.
Probably. I wonder if the reasoning is, okay, they have so much team fight that breaking high ground is going to be a... He's fine.
Yeah, dissimulate. Oh, can't get to the high ground, though. We'll have to use an Astral Step.
So... like, if you're playing against a team that has this insane team fight and high ground defense with living armor, maybe their idea is, okay, our pushing power is pretty weak. This is going to be a long game. I'll make sure I scale. And the way we take fights and get Roshan is based off of either winning a fight or forcing the enemy team to use their big cooldowns. Right. So, like, maybe, I feel like every time you make an argument for Midas, you can almost always make an equally good argument against it. And it's kind of just about, like, team identity and what the plan is. Because... you could just as well say, well, why are you buying Midas if the enemy team has big AoE ultis? Why aren't you like trying to punish at every turn that they're on cooldown with a fast tempo item? But if this is the team read on the game, then as long as they're on the same page, I don't really mind. The worst thing is you've cast games like this where 1 or 2 players go Midas and then they try to fight all the time. Right. And they just have dead net worth and they lose to a team that has low cooldown heroes that are just active and ready. And it's just like, why did you buy Midas to go fight non-stop? But it's pretty quiet, right? 3 kills, 11 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep farming.
And what are we looking at for Void's items? What kind of farming item is he going for?
I would reckon it is, let's see, it is going to be first time Diffusal. I mean, you can... it's a classic item against Morphling. You have Empower, so you can kind of compensate for the lack of farming. I was still imagining he would go for the Maelstrom, but it's kind of funny how Execration is taking the different route, right? They're like, we have the big team fight and farming line. Great.
Morphling LSA, more than enough. I mean, if they can find the avenue, they can do that every time.
Yeah. Come out of fog, get a Chrono out of nowhere. Very nice. But yeah, they're taking more an active route with their Void. So maybe again, they have the logic that we're going to compensate for our lineup's weakness, where if we all play greedy, then nothing is going to happen.
Great T. Yeah, Mars Arena did whiff, but the Glimpse brings him right back in, and the Rebuke is enough. So they're able to kill the tree for the second time, I believe, this game. I mean, both Mars Arenas have been specifically for tree, so maybe not exactly what you're looking for, but better than nothing. And Emo going to be able to dodge that EMP. Has the haste, and of course the Midas is in his inventory.
Are they trying this? Seriously? Okay. I thought he was going to try to RP from
all right, skewering out. Bashes continue, but yeah, it feels like a very, very difficult kill. It did force out a TP as well, though.
Glimpse? No, not in range.
Have to simulate back to safety. He's just creating a lot of space with that haste rune now.
Yeah, this is a huge rotation from Execration. They've brought basically all their heroes spot except Trian, who just respawned, so... looking for something big.
Static Storm, the kinetic field only connects on one, but this is the only hero that really matters. Yoe looks to be dead, but the egg does fall first into the RP, though. Remember, this is just a Midas. Emo is going to be taken out. That's a double kill for BDZ. Nice LSA. Going to continue on as Palos will be able to finish off the Disruptor in tow. So a 3-for-1. At least the Invoker got a little bit of XP for that Phoenix kill before he dropped.
Really crucial RP. They have to catch the Void Spirit there or they lose big time. But does get it off. JT will take the top tower though. Trian was not able to defend this on his own, so Mars is progressing very nicely, closing in on Blink Dagger, minute 13. It's a pretty good timing when you have Treads and Corrosion.
I mean, he's top net worth. That's
yeah, he's very.
That's a little strange. Not used to seeing that all too often.
I think he might also have been top net worth at one point last game on Darkseer. He's having some really good performances so far. He ended the game with like, what was it? Ags, Refresher, Dagger, and one more item, I think. He had a lot of stuff.
It looks like Emo will be going for first item Mule, so can dispel Cold Snap and whatnot, and obviously set up for his Aether Remnant if he wants to go for the aggressive route. I feel like this Midas is paying off already. Once we get to like 10 more minutes, if the game is even relatively even, it feels like it pays for itself.
That's how the item works, yeah.
Yep, thank you, Synderen. I'm keeping it friendly for the
That's good.
Okay. Well, I did say 10 minutes, which might be a little too early, actually.
It technically has not paid for itself there, so you're incorrect.
Yeah, sure.
Purge would have given you the exact number of seconds, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
All right, that's a dead Tran.
Yep. Mega dead. Emo ends up netting the kill for himself. JT, very little mana to speak of.
Oh, this is a very good setup. They know there's no RP. Chrono is obviously available. All right, he's just in there.
Yeah, Mars Arena comes up. We got two heroes stuck inside the Kinetic Field Static Storm combination, and Execration just getting dominated. Despite Emo going for a Midas, he is still fighting and doing just fine. They're going to be able to clean up even more, so 4 dead overall. And this is going to be a tier 1 tower for IG.
That's like a really good example of what I was talking about earlier, right? Like you have this low commitment spell. Void Spirit goes in, he starts something, the enemy team tries to help, and that's where the big Arena, Phoenix, Egg, plus Static Storm comes into play. And Execration can't really do it in the same way. They don't have that. They have Tornado EMP, but, you know, the thing about a spell like Tornado EMP setup is that it stuns in... You know what I mean when I say it stuns everyone, right?
Yeah.
It kind of just delays the action so both teams can help. Here, when Void Spirit goes in, it's damage. It's on the mark, it goes really fast, and reaction just isn't available. No RP, they just take advantage
of that. The fact that he's doing exactly what you said you hated. He's fighting with a Midas Brown Boots. What are your thoughts on that? As long as it works, it's fine. Oh, speaking of which, looks like he's getting saved here by the Phoenix for now. They're going to turn this around on the Apollo. So
he's fine.
Time walks all the damage out. Glimpse is there as well. He's in a bit of trouble here. Spotlight jumped in, but that's the overgrowth. Palos continue to try to walk this off, but there's a skewer into the RP, onto 2. Palos gets stunned by the Aether Remnant. There's still no kills on the side. Finally, Phoenix dies. Now Emo. Looks like the adaptive strike is going to set things up here. Nico will be the next on the list, so it's a 1-for-1 to start things out. JT takes Laguna Blade to the face, but just shrugs it off. And somehow only 2 die.
Yeah.
What in the world?
That's pretty crazy.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
So, just to clarify what I said about the Midas, as long as the team is on the same page with how they're going to play it, I don't mind. It's when there's this disconnect where 1 or 2 people go Midas and then they don't like play on the same way in the game. It's very clear that they have a shared understanding of what they're supposed to do. Is the Midas integral to what has happened so far? I don't think so. I think he could have had literally anything here and it would have been just as good or better. But this might pay off in a big way later. If
Feels like an insurance policy.
Right, and if they can fight regardless, then why not? But you know, the alternative now is that he would almost have eggs. So if he felt like that would be a bigger payoff, he would have obviously.
I mean, this isn't like the Midas of old. This is an 1800 recipe. It's freaking expensive.
It is expensive to buy Midas. It's more than half an eggs to buy a Midas. So.
Yep. IG smoked up, and like you said, they have very low cooldowns, so they can just continue to fight over and over, and they don't even need everything to set things up. So, not sure if they're going to find anything on the
this is
smoke itself here.
It's good movement from Execration. They have a feeling the smoke's coming, and they're playing inside their own ward up here.
Tran, yeah, he seems to be the beneficiary of the spear.
That is such a minor price to pay there. It's very, very good. It's a great death.
You know, every time we play together, you say that every time I die. Great death.
It's a great death in a different way, then.
Okay. Because it just makes you smile?
No, because I traded for literally any hero in the enemy team, and then it's good.
You're such a good friend.
I know, I try.
Anywho, Yoei, level 10, and we didn't even talk about the level discrepancy. What level's Emo right now with that Midas? Because that's also going to pay off.
I think he's sitting on level 13 and a half.
3-level advantage. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Well, glimpse back after the skewer. Nico actually makes his way out of the Kinetic Field, but looks like he'll take a tumble here. And Marzer, I mean, that's super low cooldown. They can just continue to fight.
Radiant's top tower
it's this very clear problem, right? Where every time IG want to just look for a pick off, it feels like, you know, if you see 2 other heroes on the map than the guy you're going on, you feel so safe because they need the whole They need the whole package to be able to fight. Their ability to take 2v2s, 3v3s on Execration is very limited. So they need to be so careful with how they show heroes and lanes and how they push waves out to get information. Now that all their spells are up again, we might see a smoke so they can try to take the kind of fight that they want. Might wait for Void's BKB though. It's very close, 300. That is a massive item against Radiant. It counters every hero.
I mean, it's good for him to survive, but he's not really doing that much damage yet, obviously.
He's gonna get Alacrity though.
Yeah, true.
Level 5 Wex is a lot of attack.
Power, Alacrity. Yeah, I guess that's a good point.
That's pretty
a lot of buffs.
Yeah.
And Living Armor, of course. Don't forget it.
Absolutely, also gives a lot of damage.
That's right. And that was in the last patch notes in case you guys missed it.
Dude, imagine.
It gives tower damage too, right? That's how it works. We're just changing the way. He doesn't heal anything anymore. It's just all damage based. That'll bring him back.
But they keep the name Treant Protector, but he protects nothing. He's only aggressive.
That's right.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
It's kind of like, which hero is it that's completely the opposite in terms of personality of what it actually does? And again, this one, right? I'm just trying to remember which one it is.
Thanks for putting me on the spot, Cinder. I have no idea.
You know this stuff. You talk to Slacks a lot. You know all the
Faceless
lore.
Void, he has a cosmetic that gives him a face. So that's technically the opposite of the theme.
That's kind of true.
I mean, what constitutes having a face anyway? That's the real question. As we see a smoke here from Execration. See if they can set anything up. They're going to get free kill on Super. There's the Alacrity just for that last hit there, if you will.
That's something.
Yeah.
They also protect the Roche area with this move. They're obviously a little bit paranoid that Morph could be doing this through the Morbid Mask. Does he have one of those? He does indeed. Morbid Mask Manta.
I mean, that feels like it would be very risky for IG. I mean, that's the one thing that the Execration has, is they have this crazy team fight if you're grouped up in Roche Pit.
Right, but that's kind of the thing. How risky is it if it's just Morph?
If it's just Morph? Yeah.
If it's just, he probably can't solo it entirely without Solar Crest, but like if you can place Morph plus, let's say, I don't know, Morph Mars with Bulwark, and you have a buyback, I don't know, I think they could maybe still go for it, but it is risky, and I think IG are fine with the state of the game regardless. They don't need the Roche, they just need to force Execration to move as a unit, and then they're going to out-farm them.
So talk to me about Morphling. I'm guessing there's not going to be an Aghanim Scepter this game. I mean, is there anything, like, I guess even, I'm not sure if I've seen Lina, but it feels like the Fiery Soul after using the spells could have decent synergy.
You need to remain Morph. Lina to have the Fiery Soul.
Oh, it doesn't?
I think so. I don't think
really?
I don't think they carry over. I could be wrong on that.
Kaka's getting caught up. Oh, Static Storm is there, and the egg will be used in addition. So it's going to stun up Nico. No, he's going to just skewer out. So, I mean, that's a decent ultimate.
This has to be go time for Execration. That's two ults down.
That's two big ults down right now.
You need to go. Yeah, I like this. Just go on. Go up there. Kaka has no dive.
Yep, time dilation is there. There's a Chronosphere onto 2. He's attacking extremely slow thanks to that Fire Spirit, but he's going to be able to take out the Phoenix regardless. He's going to buy back into the game immediately. As Super just getting right-clicked down by Palos, who pops that BKB. And in the meantime, BDZ does get out to the blade. Firefly getting extremely low, but will live through the engagement here. Gets LSA'd again. Into the RP, into the Skewer, into the Mars Arena as well. But it looks like Execration are just falling apart. Invoker and Treant die. It cost a buyback from IG, but as long as they don't get team wiped into a Roche, that's kind of the big turning point. They're going to chase down BDZ now. And can he Roche now is the question. I mean, all the big ults are down.
Maybe a little bit too low on resources right now to be able to pull it off, but yeah. That looked pretty promising for Execration. It was a good chrono. I don't know if you really don't want to BKB there as Palos, right? To get off the Fire Spirit. Like the attack speed slow is a big problem. Okay. That is
just trading spells here. Emo takes off the time dilation.
He's actually in trouble.
I'm not sure if he has any spells to use, and yeah.
Nice catch.
Down he goes.
Bonus kill. Well played.
JT, I mean, that's a save your friend system right there.
That just literally made it all worth it. If Execration also get Roche now, this is huge.
They do have buyback on Emo, but
it's kind of similar to the last game. Just a little bit of slip.
Yeah. I mean, that looked like kind of overconfidence, if nothing else, maybe. Tough to say, though. I mean, this Roche is not super fast, so you still have a decent. I mean, 26 seconds, can they kill it?
Fire Spirits are really good here.
Yeah, no, there's the Alacrity finally. This will speed things up a bit.
Found the Skewer.
Oh my.
Nobody.
All right, Kaka just explodes, and I think that will make the decision for Emo a little bit easier. I mean, only 10 seconds left, but
that's Roche.
Execration, first Roshan. Oh, I forgot that high fives are back in the game. Oh, praise Gaben. Thank goodness. Love this stuff. Nobody's giving high five, though, so that feels bad. Would you give me high five, Syndra?
Depends what you did.
Just me existing isn't enough.
I'll think about it.
Okay,
Radiant's
thank you.
courier has been killed.
All right, so 5 minutes with that
Radiant's
Aegis.
top
That'll
tower
buy a
is
little bit
under
extra
attack.
time for Execration. When we talk about like they're
Radiant's
down, I don't know.
structures are fortified.
Does it feel like they're down to you right now, Execration?
No, not anymore.
I mean, I know the net worth is pretty even, but it feels like that you
Radiant's
heavily
top
favored the
tower
draft
has
of
fallen.
IG, and based on the last game and the overall perceptions, we feel like IG is probably the better team.
Yeah,
Radiant's
but
top
this
tower is
last
under
2
attack.
minutes really gifted a lot to
Radiant's
Execration,
structures
and
are fortified.
once you get to late game with this kind of
Dire's
lineup, that's
middle
when
tower is
the
under
weaknesses
attack.
of having these big ultimates can fade a little bit, because you can compensate with itemization, right? You can start buying Hex.
Oh my.
Dire's
So if
bottom
you have
tower
a
is
low
under
commitment
attack.
engage, you start having talents that give you cooldown reduction or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Radiant's top
So
tower is under
in many
attack.
ways, Execration have got over one of the hardest
Dire
hurdles,
are
and getting the first Roche is a huge boon to them as well. So I think they're in a pretty good spot. I wouldn't say they're far ahead. Like, a lot of the time you'd be like, wow, this is a late game Void with Empower
Dire's
and an
bottom
Invoker.
tower
Like,
is under
how can they
attack.
possibly lose? But they're playing against mobile heroes. Their
Radiant's
spells
top
can
tower
whiff.
is under attack.
There's buybacks in play. So I wouldn't call it in the bag just yet for Execration, but definitely
Yeah.
they're in a good spot.
Well, Palace is definitely starting to get up there in net worth. First
Dire's
overall for
bottom
the
tower
game,
is under
but
attack.
I think the issue with the cores from IG side is the top 3 next heroes are on their team, so that's going to be in all likelihood a lot more impact. Like Invoker feels like he's dropping off a bit.
Dire's middle
I'm not sure
tower
like
is
what the
under
comeback.
attack.
I mean, the old days you go for Invoker Midas, right, as a first item. Not as common anymore. I mean, it depends on the
Dire's
build
bottom
probably, right?
tower is under attack.
If you go Quaswex, it's not that common to go Midas first in general. It's kind of counterintuitive. If you want to play the active role where you're really making moves, on Invoker, the items pay off big time compared to a Midas if you play Quaswex. So it went for the Witchblade, which is a very common thing right now on Quaswex Invoker, because it exactly lines up with that playstyle. And now he's got the BKB completed. It's going to help him a lot, especially against, actually, ironically, it's going to help him against Void, because he's getting time dilated by the Morph every fight.
Yeah, true.
And he needs a way of solving that. It also protects him against the E-Blade of Morphling himself in his natural form, and
Radiant's middle
well,
tower
it
is under
protects him
attack.
against all of Radiant's heroes, basically. Those are like
Bottom
just
tower
some of
is
the
under attack.
really big upsides.
Yeah, and Execration doing exactly what they need to do with this Aegis. Just bulldoze these tier 2 towers. They got the one top, they're getting the one mid. See if they go for the one bottom next. That's exactly the order that you'd like to see, Cinder. They actually just get this for free, so IG does not want to fight. Palos does have the Scotty now, so
Are they going to force high ground here?
I mean, if they win a big team fight in IG's base, then they could potentially just get a couple racks here. I mean, they can't get bottom without that tier 2, but this is already half HP. There's a skewer, or the spear, I should say, into the tower. They're going to take out this Aegis. He tries to get up the time walk, but a little miscommunication there from Execration. No save coming, and there's a static storm into the kinetic field. It gets empowered as if that's going to do anything for Puck. AKB, Chrono Spear onto 3, Sunstrike to fall. They take out the Disruptor immediately. There's a huge RP onto 2, skewer back in. Morphling's dead, 5 back into the game. And there's the Marjorie that keep everybody in tow. JT trying to kite his way. Drops very awkwardly there. As Execration is winning this fight big time. Buyback on the Morphling though, so Execration needs to be very careful. Invoker finally dies. And again, this Alacrity onto Palos is doing absolute work.
I can't
Wi-Fi.
Is under attack.
Yep. Starting to attribute shift a little bit. Gets the Yules off. There's a skewer again. This will be a dieback onto Super. Moves out very easily. And the right click commence. Firefly has to go Scepter himself. The chase continues. They're just killing heroes one by one. With very little retribution to follow. Emo finally getting a return kill. He's going to get skewered again. I believe that Magnus has that skewer talent. He feels like he's skewering every 10 seconds.
Is under attack.
Be shocked if he doesn't have that 15 talent. I believe that is crazy.
Nico's been playing a really
Yeah,
good
he
game
has
here.
been owning.
Like, he got some criticism from the panel after the last game. I think it's deserved. Like, I also think it was a hard game for him, but he made a couple of questionable decisions on Axe. He also made a really big play, if you remember, but he's been really good this game. A lot of these skewers are setting up for a lot of success. He gets that 2-man RP that forces the buyback out of the Morphling. And even though the gold might look similar to before, these buybacks being on cooldown is a really big deal, because that is the one solution you have to this big AoE combo that Execration has, is if you have second lives. They're not available next time.
I'm not sure if Emo had his Ags for that last fight, because I know most of the components were on the Courier that was dead. So
Yeah.
That delayed it by a couple minutes. That could have, not sure if he had that for that last fight, but either way. Finally gets the Ags, which you talked about, like, get Yules into Ags, that's pretty common, but it was delayed because of the Midas, and obviously if it's going to go late game, it pays off, but, I mean, Execration, showing up big time now.
Also worth highlighting how they killed the Morph the first time, by the way. It was a really, really great, the Void. The Void kill and the Radiant base from IG was top tier. A super good execution of spell casting, like clear game plan, Blink, Mars Spear, Sunray, then we're gonna follow up with the Remnant and the E-Blade. So nicely done there. They get a pick on Lina. It's not the biggest kill in the world, but gives them a little bit of space to breathe. You see that very heavy warding around the bottom half of the map. Probably gonna see IG kind of set up a house down there instead of venturing too much in the top half. That would be pretty dangerous without any vision. I bet they want to though. Like they know there's some cooldowns here. RP is up, but Chrono's still down.
Man, look at Mars's farm. My goodness, he's working on a heart now. I'm not used to Mars being this freaking. I feel like they drop off, at least in NA. Maybe that's just a regional. Feels like they just feed horribly after the 15-minute mark. But he's very tanky right now. He actually blinks out of the grasp here.
Yep. He got ghost walked on as well, so he realized something was up. Backed out.
And Emo now level 20, went for Boots of Trust, so even more like kind of greedy items, feels like.
He is really, he's making it as mechanical heavy on himself as possible. They do good.
Oh my.
Yeah, that's big.
And Nico has been setting up every fight, it feels like, for Execration. We'll see if they try to back off here, and it looks like they'll be successful, so won't need to buy back for some impending team fight. But anyway, as Morphling, who do you want to turn into this game?
Having a second spear isn't too bad. Kinetic field is decent glimpse. Phoenix is also a good form, so you can waveform and Icarus dive.
So when you have...
But he's not going Ags, is he?
No.
No.
So it has to be an enemy.
Yeah, so he's just going to turn into Void as usual, I think.
Yeah. All right, Kaka is going to use off the time dilation and...
Missed it. Oh. That was really poorly timed. He's still going to die, though.
Yeah, he's definitely dead. That was an interesting death animation.
That Sunstrike was literally a second off.
Yeah. A full second?
Yeah, I think so. It was very, very late.
I mean, he's a Quas Wex, okay? He's not, that's why he's not going the Sunstrike build.
Yeah. He's a Master Tier Invoker, but not a Master.
He only plays one of the two. He's a binary Invoker for sure. But, I mean, once you get to a certain level, like you get the Cataclysm online with all these teams, like that feels like that's an enormous power spike.
Absolutely. Like the game right now very much depends on for IG killing Void, I think. Like if you don't catch the Void, or even if you...
He's actually going Axe now.
Yeah, I think that's a good choice. Like imagine you don't catch Void and he gets any 2-hero chrono, it's just kills. Like you're playing without save, which is something FA pointed out on the panel. You're playing into this like huge AoE combo late game stuff with a hard lockdown in RP and chrono, and you don't have anything to save your cores. You have no Oracle, you have no Abaddon Shield, you have no like Shallow Grave even, like whatever it would be. So
we have a shard on Faceless Void, by the way.
Oh. He bought it.
He purchased it. This is an Eternal Envy special. Of course, the difference is Envy goes Manta into Shard immediately.
Yep. Envy also isn't playing here.
Yes, that is true.
That's another difference.
He just popularized it, or he's trying to at least. So for those that don't know,
I'm so mean today.
It gives you 400 extra range on your time walk, and then it gives you this little ability to time walk backwards for a second and a half after time walking originally. But you do not get any procs from your Ags if you were to get it, and you do not get any HP manipulation. Right. So it feels like a really weird shard, and I'm jump in here. You get silence thanks to that Ags from Emos. There's the Mars ult onto 3 heroes, but very little follow-up. They're going to focus on the egg, and they will get it successfully. Follow top that BKB to help him out there. Buyback now into the Phoenix, of course with no egg to work with. Looks like Execration's going to back as a Treant buys back now. As Laguna Blade applied to Super. He'll die awkwardly to the minions from Mr. Invoker himself. Well, Paulus with the Chronosphere. It's only onto one, but it's a Morphling. It's the only hero that matters, and that is dead. Morphling, thanks to the Cataclysm to follow up. No buyback. 5 versus 3. Emo looks to be next on the list. If they can get this, they can potentially get multiple racks, and they will do so. Beautiful layering. He doesn't have buyback on Emo, but he can't really do anything by himself.
This is minimum 1 lane if they can just push the waves in. Mars is doing his best here. He's going to try to keep cutting. If JT kills this wave, that is really big, actually.
Radiant's
there's a
top
wave
tower
top,
is
though.
under
Yeah, it
attack.
takes a bit of time to connect, though. This is going to buy them
Dyer's
some
middle tower
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Void Spirit's going to buy back and try to cut it. So now the challenge here is to try to catch this Void when he tries to kill the wave. If they have any sort of duels, perfect timing stun coming in, or a good tornado catch, or that.
RP, this will be a dieback
Radiant's top tower is
into
under
the
attack.
LSA as well, but the glimpse will get Void the hell out of there. But there's the Margolf on top of this Emo. Up to the Semlight, still inside the Margolf. Astral steps to the side here, but not able to really do much with it. JT getting chased now by Paulus, and they do find the die or the kill onto Emo. So that is a dieback, and that probably will be GG. And Execration, it feels like the last 10 minutes they just turned it on and boom.
Yeah.
They just win the game.
Victory.
Remember at the start of the game when I said BSJ is just so right? They're going to
Yeah,
own
you
this
were
game.
complimenting him and other streamers,
Yeah,
I believe.
I was like, BSJ, he knows what's up. He knows this big team fight combo is going to win. In all fairness, though, I feel like we really saw both the weakness and the strength of this kind of lineup. You saw how they were struggling in